All right, guys, so we got to talk about a sad, tragic story that is not receiving nearly as much attention as it should, okay? And this story is out of Philadelphia, and it involves some kids, and I'm using the term kids here loosely because you really should call them adult monsters, okay? That is what people like this act like, okay? Because they killed a 73-year-old man by the name of James Lambert Jr. Basically, they attacked the guy and beat him to death, okay? And one of the teenage kids that was arrested was actually a teenage girl, right? A 14-year-old girl by the name of Gamora Mosley. As she was caught on camera, basically beating this old man with a traffic cone. And she and another badass kid that is also 14 years old has been rightly charged with third-degree murder, okay? They're being charged as adults. Her mom is speaking out about this incident, basically saying that society is wrongly calling her a bad mother. So I want to discuss that, okay? But before I get into this, I just want to let you guys know. I'm not trying to have this video censored, and I actually want you guys to see the video. So the violent parts, okay, I'm going to leave out. If you want to see the actual footage of them beating up the old man, you're going to have to find that on your own. But I'm going to leave that out because, YouTube is sensitive about that. It is what it is. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll this news clip so you guys can get a better understanding of what's going on here. Take a look.
A deadly and unthinkable tragedy are speaking out tonight. Good evening, I'm Dawn Timoney. It's been a top story all week long. Young teenagers charged as adults in the deadly beating of 73-year-old James Lambert. Two of those teens have been officially charged with murder. And the mother of one of those teens, 14-year-old Gamora Mosley, sat down with our Alex Hawley today.
So all that stuff that's said on social media about me and my child is not true. I'm not a bad mom.
I sat down for an exclusive interview with Shira, the mother of 14-year-old Gamora Mosley, charged with third-degree murder and conspiracy charges for the traffic cone beating death of James Lambert Jr. Gamora's grandmother and family attorney Lonnie Fish were also present. Much of the attack was caught on surveillance video.
What do you say to some people who've looked at that video and they say, how could a good kid be capable of something like that, beating a 73-year-old man with a traffic cone to his death?
It was the other kids and, bad influence. She probably just, didn't mean to do it.
The 73-year-old was walking along the 2100 block of Cecil B. Moore Avenue on June 24th when he was attacked just before 3 in the morning.
My daughter ain't capable of nothing like that. Never. Since her dad gone, it just, things been different. Because we ain't got that family no more like we used to have. I'm saying we used to be in the house and stuff like that as a family. My mom disabled, so I'm going through a lot, so she going through a lot.
Why was it important for you to talk to us and to...
Because I feel like that's my daughter and I care. And like I said, she wasn't with me when it happened. She snuck out that night and happened to snuck out that night and been with some bad friends.
So she never snuck out before?
No.
Well, Shira, do you have a message for James Lambert Jr.'s family?
I just want to give my condolence. We apologize. I'm really sorry it happened. I'm sorry as a parent. She's sorry. So I can say I'm just sorry.
Of the 7 children shown in the video, only 2 have been charged so far. Gamora and Richard Jones, who is also 14, and both have now been charged as adults.
Sorry.
And what did she say?
Not a good kid, not a bad kid.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I don't mean no harm, okay? But my first reaction when I watched this video was, who is getting these women pregnant? Who is getting these women pregnant? That is the question, okay? That is the question. But in this situation, I might want to take back those comments. I probably shouldn't say that because she said at one point in the video that her father, the father of this girl who beat this old man to death, is gone. So I don't necessarily know if that means that he died or he's locked up or that he's not a part of the house. I want to know where her father's at, because that is, to me, a big and essential question to how in the world do we have a society where we have teenage kids beating old people to death, okay? And this is not the first time we've heard of stories like this, guys. I mean, there was a story, what was it, in Washington, D.C., Baltimore, right? Probably, I think it was D.C., where you had teenage girls that hijacked an Uber driver or something like that, somebody's car in broad daylight, and they ended up killing the man, okay? The man ended up getting killed during the interaction. I also have done stories about how in Boston, you got a bunch of teenagers, again, girls, that are running around the city attacking people, beating people up. They beat up a white woman because she was wearing braids, right? This is not a one-off situation. This right here is a result of a toxic culture, okay? A culture of violence, a culture that promotes violent behavior. And then you have parents, when confronted about the fact that they are bad parents, that they have done a piss poor job of raising their kids, because that's the only way you can have kids that are doing this stuff, she deflects. Oh, well, you know, it's because the father's not there. Which, I mean, hey, I think that's the most legitimate excuse that she used. But still, that's not an excuse for your kids to be out here murdering 73-year-old men at 3 a.m. at night. Again, by the way, how in the world is a 14-year-old girl out running around with their friends at 3 a.m., but you say that you're a good parent? Again, those two things don't go together, right? They don't make sense. Good parents don't let their kids out at 3 a.m. Good parents make sure that their kids can't get out and be out at 3 a.m., okay? And again, it's funny how, you know, they always want to act like, well, this is a first-time thing. I knew nothing about it, right? I knew nothing about it. It's not my fault. She was under the influence from her friends. It's her friend's fault. And I'm like, okay, first and foremost, when you look at the footage, it looked like this girl, right, was a active and willing participant in beating this man to death. I'm just saying, okay? Second of all, again, how as a parent do you let your kid out at 3 a.m.? Why would they even be comfortable leaving at 3 a.m.? Okay, when I was 14 years old, 13 years old, I couldn't even fathom, I couldn't even imagine being out at 3 a.m. I couldn't even imagine being out after 9 a.m. My parents used to flip when I would be out past 9 p.m., okay? Even if I was just down the street, okay? I remember that. I used to get chewed for being out past dark, okay? So, again, there was no situation where I can imagine that I would be able to go out at 3 a.m. in the middle of the night at 14 years old. There's no way, no how. I knew what was waiting for me when I got back home if that happened, okay? My butt would be towed up, okay? It would be the end of me if that happened. But this 14-year-old girl, again, a 14-year-old girl felt comfortable enough to go out at 3 a.m. at night. Well, why is that? It's because she's been allowed to do it. She's been allowed to do it. What probably is going on here is you have a situation where this parent is not giving enough of attention to her daughter, right? Doesn't pay attention to her daughter, let her daughter do anything that she wants to do, including be out at all times of night. And it just so happened this time, the result of that is that her and her bad friends, who probably have the same household situation this girl has, probably being raised by single mothers, okay, in the hood, okay, ghetto baby mamas, they ended up killing a 73-year-old man. These kids are monsters. That is what is happening in these neighborhoods, right? That is what's happening in these inner cities. You have these single mothers raising monsters, raising murderers, raising kids who beat 73-year-old men to death. Not only are they killing each other when it comes to gangs and stuff like that and over drugs, they're also killing innocent people. Again, that's the problem. But the problem can never be addressed because nobody wants to acknowledge it's a problem. But if this was, you know, a situation like what happened in Ohio, out in Akron, where you had some dude that went on a high-speed chase away from the police, okay, and then got out of his car and ran away after shooting at the police during a high-speed chase, and he happens to get lit up by the police. Oh, we're going to protest in the street. We're going to make sure the world knows about this. This is a problem, right? They got all the energy in the world for that, okay, for idiots who make bad decisions and they end up getting smoked by the police, but they have no energy at all for these parents who allow their kids to go out here and murder people in the streets, and for the people that are actually committing the murders. Well, why is that? Because black on black violence is normalized, right? Oh, that's just, that's normal, right? Perfectly normal for 14-year-old girls to beat 73-year-old men to death. Don't pay attention to that. No problem. Nothing to see here. And if you say something about it, you're a racist, right? If you say something about it, you're racist. If you're black and you say something about it, you're a sellout. You're a sellout. You're Tom, right? We're going to call you a racial slur. You don't really care about black people, right? But the people that they say care about black people turn their heads away from this and ignore it and continue to allow innocent black folks to lose their lives, right? They don't want any consequences for those people. Again, it's amazing how this works. And until this dynamic change, none of this is going to change. We're going to keep seeing this over and over and over again. It's a trend. This is not a one-time thing. Nobody should be surprised by this. We've covered stories like this before in the past. You have single mothers out here that are raising monsters, including little girls, 14-year-old girls. They're murdering folks, beating people up in the streets in broad daylight. We've talked about it. But again, nothing to see here according to the wokes. Nothing to see here. And if you say it and if you say something about it, again, you're racist, you're white supremacist, you're the problem. Not them, not the people that's ignoring it, not the single mothers, not the kids. They're not the problem. It's everybody else. It's the white man's fault, right? It's the white man's fault. Again, this is why black folks are at the bottom of the totem pole, and this is why we're going nowhere fast, because nobody ever wants to take personal responsibility and accountability for their own actions. It's everybody's fault except ours. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.